Awesome. Okay, we're live. So thank you everyone for coming to today's Node.js Community Committee meeting. And we're going to go through and do introductions real quick, attendance. But first, before we do that, would anyone be willing to take minutes on the meeting today?
I'm happy to help out. I think it's good if we can have a few people trying to type them in, but I'll certainly do that as we go.
Okay, so I'm pasting the link into the Zoom chat for everyone that's attending, and I will add you as a editor, Michael.
Thank you.
1 second here. MH Michael Dawson. There we go. Okay.
If other people can sort of edit in their that they're under the present, that would be good too.
Yep.
Okay.
Awesome. So starting out, I'll go down the list for kind of attendance. I'm Tierney Siren. I'm co-chair of the community committee, and I'm a developer advocate at NodeSource living in upstate New York. Ben, you're up next. Oh, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ben Mitchell. I'm from Portland, Oregon, and I am jumping in on community committee endeavors as much as I can. Do a lot of meetup stuff here in Portland for Node, and I've been hanging around the Node community for a while, so just get involved.
Awesome. Ahmad.
Hello, everyone. This is my second meeting here. I'm interested in helping out with a mentorship program. I haven't applied for an observer yet, but I'm still figuring out if I'm interested in helping out in the community. I'm definitely interested. I'm just saying if I see this fit for my time and the environment, stuff like that.
Awesome. Adam Miller.
Hey, I'm Adam. I'm a web developer out in the Bay Area. I've been involved since the Vancouver conference. I've been helping out with internationalization efforts and website updates.
Awesome. Michael Dawson.
I'm Michael Dawson, community member, as well as the chair of the TSC and active in a bunch of working groups across the project.
Cool. Diego.
Hello, everyone. My name is Diego. I'm from Brazil. I'm not a part of community, of the committee, but I raised the two related to each of the club. And it seems that it gets a lot of attraction about creating ways to make companies and developers find each other in an easier way. And I hope that we can move forward with some of these ideas. I'm happy to be bringing that here.
Awesome. Dan Shaw. You're muted.
Hi, I'm Dan Shaw, D. Shaw, observer of the community committee, organizer of the user feedback, the Node.js end user feedback group, and morning, everybody.
Awesome. Joe Seppi.
Hi, everybody. Joe Seppi here. I am a ComCom member and the lead developer advocate for IBM in New York City. I was with Strong Loop before that, and generally, node engineer. Thanks.
Sir Conway.
Hi, how are you?
Doing good. We're just doing introductions.
Oh, great.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, sure. This is Sarah Conway. Sorry, I thought that was the extent of the introduction. And I work at the Node Foundation with the Linux Foundation, and I work on marketing and communications with Libby.
Awesome.
So it's nice to see many of you who I've met before, and thanks for having me.
Yeah. William.
Hey, this is William Kapke. I'm in the San Francisco area. I am a member of this committee and also on the board of directors.
Awesome. Zibby.
Hey, I'm Zibby Keaton, and I work at the Node.js Foundation and focus on comms and marketing with Sarah.
Awesome. Toby.
I work in public education in Colorado, and I'm currently an observer.
Awesome. I believe that's everyone. Just trying to make sure. Yes. looks like it's everyone. Please ping me if it's not. Okay, so we have a bit of a shorter agenda today, but I do want to go through and check in with the initiatives first. So Michael, could you share anything about any news about the user feedback initiative? Oh, you're muted. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just asking Dan if he wanted to take that one. Otherwise, I'm happy to. But
you bet. So user feedback. We had our first public meeting on the 1st. That was fantastic, and we are on a regular biweekly cadence now. Though we'll probably miss our next one since it's the last day of the year. So we were meet on Fridays, 9 a.m. Pacific time, and really excited to get everything kicked off. We at the next meeting we're going to have Greg Wallace of the Linux Foundation joining us, and that's going to serve two purposes. One, to get context of what the objectives and what data we're getting with the Node.js annual user survey, so we can tap into that data and potentially leverage that or propose questions that are end user related that can ride on top of the annual survey to take advantage of that existing broadcast channel. And from a discussion that Michael Dawson and I had with Greg Wallace, it's also a great way for us to do targeted outreach for end user feedback. So folks can opt in when they do the survey to identify themselves, and that way we already have some sort of demographic opted in Node.js end users that we can do things like our first big initiative. The benchmarking working group has reached out and said they would like to get feedback from the end user community on some things that they're trying to prioritize. So we're working with Greg to land a survey with Foundation infrastructure, and we'll have the opportunity to learn more about that tomorrow at 9 a.m. this time.
Awesome. Sounds good. William or anyone else participating in that, do you have anything you'd like to add?
The one other thing I would add is just hot off the presses, there's an issue asking companies if they're interested in participating in the end user feedback initiative. So, if you want to help publicize that, or if you know companies, talk to them and suggest they get involved. Let me just find the issue and I'll paste it into the chat.
And there's an email alias setup.
Yeah, that one I set up just so that people could send us their contact info without having to do it in public. There was a bunch of discussion on what that alias should be in terms of if we're getting general feedback. So my plan for this one wasn't that it's just a general feedback, but this is the first place we're saying, hey, you can send us your contact info. If we think we do want a more general, just, hey, send us any kind of feedback, we should think about what we set up for that.
Right.
And here I'm pasting this into the chat just for awareness.
I don't see it. Oh, is it into the Zoom chat or the YouTube chat?
Sorry, the Zoom chat.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see it there.
I maybe just sent it to Dan. Okay. I don't know why I don't know why Dan defaulted as opposed to everybody, but there you go.
Yeah, it defaults to individual random people. Sometimes it's kind of weird.
Okay.
Awesome. So, let me head over to the agenda real quick. Too many tabs. So, one of the...
I'm sorry. If I can make a suggestion for that ticket, if there could be a template email for people to send that blast out to their companies, since it sounds like you want company participation, that'd be awesome to have in there. I have a couple of friends that I could shoot that too. To use Node heavily.
So a template more than what's there, or just?
Like a copy paste, insert name of company here. Hey, everybody here, we're looking for feedback on yada, yada, yada.
Okay.
That would probably, if people didn't have the overhead of writing the email themselves, which for some people is a hassle.
Sure. Dan, you want to take that one, or?
I was just noting that, isn't that what's there?
I think we need the little bit that says, hey, you might be a good candidate or something, right? You know what I mean?
Hey,
but yeah, I was thinking.
I'll take care of
that. Sorry, what were you saying, Adam?
More friendly way. I'd be happy to draw something too.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, Adam, if you want to add that to that issue that's in the chat, so user feedback issue 20, please feel free, and we'll incorporate that into our outreach. Very appreciated. Thank you.
Awesome. So first issue on the agenda is the mentorship team under the community committee. I believe Ahmad has quite a substantial bit of work that he's done on that. Would you like to share an update on that?
Yeah, sure. So I shared the link with the GitHub repo that I put. I'll share it again. Probably this has to go to the Node Foundation project, but just to get started. So this is a draft about the whole mentorship program. I had a couple of questions that I addressed to Tierney. I don't believe he's here right now, but
I am.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm the Node.js Foundation account.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So basically, I had some questions and I attempted to answer them here. So this is a draft, it's supposed to change over time. So basically, if you go to the process, this is a process I have in mind. It's based on the Kubernetes pilot program. Basically, we have mentees and mentors because we have different projects and under the Node Foundation. So probably each project has to declare that they want to join the mentorship program. And afterwards, we can basically announce that the mentorship program for Node Core is available, and we can gather mentors and mentees and kick off the program. The details, I'm not sure if we have the time to discuss the whole draft, or what should I touch exactly on the draft?
Yeah, you can give an overview. We have 3 agenda items today, so yeah, you have some time.
Okay. So kicking off the meeting is basically what I thought is the medium of exchange. Basically, we'll be sending the pairs that we match an email, and after that, we'll have a meeting with the pair and where they introduce each other and agree on a mentorship schedule, the expectations, goals, how will they communicate further on using Slack or any other communication channel they choose. Also, choosing the matching process, I believe it should be done from the project. For example, Node Core, the members should nominate the mentors, and also they should help in the filtering process of who the mentors are. Basically, the matching between the pairs, the mentors and mentees, should be done by the ComCom group or the people responsible for the mentorship program based on their language goals and other preferences. I also addressed some other questions like the expectations and the general mentorship details. For example, accounting for language diversity. Basically, I thought we can account for the languages or the different languages in the form itself, where the mentor specifies or the mentee specifies the preferred language they prefer to speak with, their fluency in English, and also if they strictly require non-English language for communication. And we can give them a notice that for non-English languages, maybe the process is slower, just because the community, or I assume most of the community speaks English or prefers to speak English for communication. Also displaying the list of mentees and mentors. I thought like basically we can have it in the GitHub page, and also we'll have the Slack channel for everyone to communicate, and people who are interested, they can join the Slack channels and see the activity and the people who are in the program basically. And also like I thought the mentorship program between each pair should be restricted by time. So it's not like open-ended. This way we can have like better grasp on the whole program. Based on a few mentorship programs and some papers I read, 6 months is a good time because having a few regular meetings every 2 weeks or every 1 month will give a total of around 10 to 12 meetings, basically 1 hour or like 30 to 1 hour meetings to stay up to date. And also they can like, the peer can do code review, pairing, pair programming, stuff like that. The goal of the mentorship program, I'm not sure if I addressed it before, but to bring more contributors to Node.js projects by mentoring people about Node's environment and ecosystem, helping them in contributing to Node, championing their pull requests through code review and general help. I added the benefits for mentees and mentors. I believe to start the project, we should like focus on the mentors first, but when the project is started, we should like prioritize for the mentees. Like the whole communication should be addressed to the mentees because they are the people that want to join. That's all. I'm not sure if you have any questions or something I can elaborate on.
Really good.
Anyone have questions? Yeah, this looks really solid.
I mean, at this point, I would, look for, who can help land this in the project, and get it renamed over to mentorship, and let's start scheduling. This is great.
Good. I think I can transfer ownership, but or you can like copy the draft. I'm not sure.
You should you'll get attribution if you transfer. So, I would follow that path unless we can't find a path out of that. The one thing that I would add, Michael, it has been expressed multiple times that, since this is a cross ComCom and TSC initiative, and the TSC is very much interested in getting support for mentorship mentees, and having TSC folks mentor, that we get it on the TSC meeting agenda and socialize that this is landing.
Right. So yeah, I agree. I'll open an issue now that we'll tag with the agenda. We'll see next 2 meetings. I'm not going to be there. I don't know how big the group will be, but we'll get on the agenda anyway, just to sort of as a FYI. I'll include the link to the current repo. And we have just moved other repos into the foundation. So I think that's something that
we can propose it to admin, and then from there.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, well, good idea. Open issue in admin to say, hey, this is the proposal, and then we could figure out the mechanics of who needs to do the renaming kind of thing.
Awesome.
Okay.
Can you throw a to-do in the minutes? I'm happy to do that.
Yeah. So I am going to right. So Tierney. Tierney volunteered to open to an admin to propose moving repo into. Yeah, I guess it's, since it's a separate repo, like the question is, do we need a new repo? Probably, right? So we should.
Yeah.
It's a propose moving the repo into the Node.js org. Okay.
Cool. Awesome. So with that, I think we can move on to the next issue unless anyone else has something they'd like to add to this. No? Okay. So next issue on the agenda is, let me get to it, the Node.js strategic initiatives non-technical matters. So Diego created this initially. There's a lot of content in this. A lot of discussion has already been happened. So Diego, do you kind of want to give a recap of this?
Yeah, for sure.
Michael, could you mute?
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
As I talked previously with Michael, I have a feeling that as developers, we are pretty well full of content about what is happening within Node.js. But if I am thinking as someone that is starting a business, and I'm thinking that how I'm going to grow my team or something like that, I don't know where to find the developers to join my team at some point. This whole idea started with this initial thought. And then Michael tweeted about the TSC strategic initiative document, which I think that it is really great. And then I just raised the idea about having something like that for contents that are not so technical, that could reach more to companies and to people that take these decisions about which technology to use, but it is not the developer. So he wants to be comfortable about choosing Node.js platform as a platform for its company. And that's why I created the first issue, which is the 186. And then I just brought some ideas that I had in mind. And it seems that some of these ideas are getting attention, and I'm happy to contribute with this.
Awesome. Yeah, so let's actually flip these issues and discuss the Node People Everywhere initiative. So yeah, that's the other agenda item for people who are following along with the agenda. So yeah, there's a lot of context here, and there's a lot of interest. So does anyone want to kind of help drive this? You're already doing a ton with this, and it's super appreciated. Does anyone else kind of want to hop in and try to help participate in this actively?
Do you want me to give just a quick intro about the idea?
Yes, please. Please do.
Following my initial thoughts about getting together companies and developers and make it easier to identify each other, I thought that if we had a platform, a website, where the developers can register themselves and the companies can also do the same, and they will be saying who they are, where they are located, and with what they are working, how they are using Node.js. Because it seems to me that Node.js is really fragmented. If I'm going to find a company to work with Node.js, maybe I like to work with REST APIs, and I can end up finding companies that are looking for people to work with front end. Or maybe I am a company willing to work with people that has expertise on IoT, and I don't know yet how to find those people and if they are located near me. So if we had this platform, people would just register themselves, and once you wanted to find people or companies, we just went there and make a search based on my location. I am from Rio de Janeiro, for example. At Rio de Janeiro, how many developers can I find that knows how to work with APIs or knows how to work with REST-API? How many companies are investing in Node.js around my area? Because I believe that if you can show that to people maybe will be more confident to invest on Node.js. Because I kind of have a feeling that in my area, we have few companies that are investing for real on Node.js, and that can make developers not so confident about learning Node.js because they are not so sure if there will be jobs or if there are if there will be companies to hire. And that's why I thought about this platform. That would be a simple thing. People just join, registering themselves, and we get the value out of it by using the search feature of the platform.
Awesome. So did you envision this to be like a kind of independent thing? Like what was the kind of manifestation that you were envisioning? So like its own site or something like that? Or is it, just a repo that has a, by continent and then by, country under that, companies that are using Node, their logo, their name, their job page, things like that. How did you kind of think that this would manifest?
Okay, I'm gonna focus first on the features. I think that to work well, we need to have the feature to go there and to make a search for skills or for area. And at first, I have thought about creating this website myself, but I really believe that if it is part of the main Node.js website, people will be more confident to join. People will trust more the platform. So thinking about these features, I think it can be a section on Node.js website, or it can be a separate website. But how can I say that very well connected to the Node.js Foundation. If we're going to have a repo listing all the developers in all the companies, maybe this is also a great idea and can serve maybe as the database for the platform. But I think that the real benefit is to have the answers very fast, to get to the platform, make a search, and find what is happening. I think this is pretty interesting, even for Node.js Foundation. In order to have a sense of the pulse worldwide of Node.js, we could use this data and to find where Node.js is happening and how Node.js is being used. And for example, if you have some people that are planning to make a conference or a meetup, I can make a search and find if there are people that were willing to join and to show up on the meetup. I really think that we can get a lot of value of having this data.
Yeah, it's a very good idea. And actually, this does lead into something that we talked about in the last committee meeting, which is the website rework and redesign. I today was actually working on the proposal for that. So yeah, I will be publishing that soon. But this could very well tie into the kind of work that we're doing with that. That's a very strong addition to the site. So I think this is just kind of my advice, and I'm totally happy to have other people's input. What we've seen work best with the projects under the foundation is start small and then grow, add feature, ship an MVP and then add features incrementally. So I think, figuring out what that MVP is in the issue, discussing with people that are interested in contributing and working on this, discussing what that MVP is and defining that, and then going and building that, that will probably be our best bet. So, I think we should go and the kind of next steps here is to go and figure out what we want that MVP to be, and go from there. So anyone else have anything they'd like to add to this issue or any discussion? Go ahead, Dan.
So, the thing that I think I would add to that is, in order for an initiative to continue to move forward, I've seen that it takes 3 people involved. So getting 2 other people supporting the initiative, willing to engage. Even if Diego ends up being the primary driver, getting that sort of social support and network of individuals that are collaborating together. I would add that to the things that you're going to want to accomplish first.
Yes, I didn't wrote about the technical aspects of the platform, because I think we should have first discuss the idea of the concept of that. And one thing that I think that we should have think first is about how to get to the companies and to developers and make the platform well known, how to bring awareness of that. And I thought that maybe some Google Forms could help on that. Maybe it's using some tweets from Node.js Foundation. I don't know yet for now. But I have already some ideas about how to build the platform, technically speaking. But I think that maybe this is better to brought that more forward on the timeline of this MVP, I think.
Yeah, I think the MVP just doesn't need to have a working system, but if it shows maybe visually, here's what the data, here's what the pages would look like on the website in terms of the data that's shown about companies and the data that's shown about people would be
okay.
That would be helpful, at least for me, it makes it very concrete. This is what you'd be seeing, and then you can talk about, well, how do you get the data? How do you, fill that all in?
Okay.
The other thing
another idea. Following what Ahmad said about the mentorship, maybe at this platform we can have like some kind of badges, something to identify who are the people that are on the platform and our mentors. Maybe it can be great to have it there. The way I see it is just a place where we can go there and find ourselves and find who they are, what we are doing. The more we have data there, I think the better the value we'll get from there.
Yeah, it is a good idea to surface, like, if people are actually contributors to the Node community, try and surface that. So that's kind of encouraging people to be part of the core community and the Node.js community as a plus in terms of when you show up there. So that's kind of nice too.
Yes. Another topic brought by Sarah. Sarah is here, and she was talking. She mentioned about the certified partners, and when she mentioned about that, I think that maybe it could be another section of the platform. I don't know if she wants to talk a bit about her idea. Is she here?
I see she's still connected, but she's black. The screen's black, so I'm not sure. It sounds like she's in and out.
Oh, okay, that's no problem.
So maybe if she comes back, we can ask her, because it would be good to get her insight in what's already going on that front.
Yep.
Great.
The one other suggestion I had as well is it would be good to find a champion from the community committee, like adding on to what Dan was saying in terms of getting enough people. I think identifying a champion would also be good. So I'll add that to the list of to-dos of next steps.
Yeah, and actually, so that kind of leads into the context that I got out of the initiatives issue, which was similar to how the TSC has its own strategic initiatives doc. It would be very helpful for us to have a document similar to that one around our initiatives, our champions for those initiatives. So basically who can report on them if we need a report, and then, the status of them, if they've been completed, if they're, in progress, being brought into the committee, to what level we need to pay attention to them. And so I'd like to kind of try to get feedback on that and see what others think of having a strategic initiatives doc like that.
Oh, I'm definitely a plus
I think it would help a lot, Tierney.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the important context for Diego to consider here is, basically what everyone's saying is like, everyone's spread a little bit thin. We want to help, but we also want you to succeed. So, spending that little bit of effort, getting community committee buy-in and, additional support around you is going to go a long way.
Yeah.
And the onus is on us to do a better job at documenting that and communicating that.
I just wanted to share a quick thought. Basically, what Diego was saying is very interesting, but I think like it's like a whole startup on its own, like the whole thing. It's a whole platform with search and stuff. Maybe we can start simpler with having like control the places where people can search. So we can have a place to see, like you can go to this LinkedIn search query to see all the companies that actually work with Node. Here's the like a place where we can see the Facebook pages of each Node community. This is much simpler without implementing like the whole search engine thing and stuff like that. Maybe this could be like a simpler model to start with.
I think the concept was to avoid having to go to those, like people can do those searches today, right? Like unless you can get effective lists of people and companies with a search, it was like to put together the list you couldn't necessarily find easily anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think that I agree with Ahmad that we should start small with the project, but the real value is to gather the data. It's what Michael is saying. We need to have this data about the developers and companies. And that is what worries me most, because I think the platform would be easy to create. But to gather the data, bring awareness about that, I don't know if this is going to be so easy.
Right. I was also talking with Zibby, who's in the foundation and sort of publicity side of things. And she's quite interested. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here today because she'd already been looking at, how do we leverage things like LinkedIn to try and advertise jobs and try and, bring companies and people together. So I think, you make a point. We don't want to build a massive system to do this, but I think it's the interesting part is like, can we do something small on our own that's effective, or can we figure out how to leverage things like LinkedIn to achieve the same thing, right? So
sorry, I think this idea very much reminds me of something I've actually seen in the past. I'm gonna share the URL now. There you go. It's in the Zoom chat. It's literally a list of companies that are, work remotely.
Cool.
And so this structure is very much kind of what I was thinking of when you were describing it. Basically, every company has its own blurb. It has company size, remote status, region, company technologies, office locations, and how to apply. And then that's kind of summarized in its own markdown file. And then there's a table with just a list of every single company. So this is kind of an approach that's very basic. And then, this is basically a database, this entire repo, and it's purely markdown. But from that, I think we can either, if we want to, once we have that data, we can either transform it into JSON and then have that be consumable, or, surface this to the website similar to how Electron does the Electron apps from Syndrasor's Awesome Electron repo, just converting Markdown into HTML. Yeah, so I think this would be a good initial MVP. Is just setting up the structure for this, and then community committee members, even Node.js Foundation, and then even the companies that are members of the foundation, trying to drive engagement with this a little bit more. Does anyone have kind of thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I agree with you that the website can be a powerful driver for this. There's a lot of examples out there, and other language websites and front-end framework websites of fairly comprehensive community pages. Scala's a very good example of that. I'll post the link in the chat as well. And there's a couple other good examples of the types of like community aggregation pages on websites out there in the wild. I had a list at one point that I started to put together, so I'll try and find that and send it to more examples out. But this could be a great MVP. Yeah, collect the data, collect where you can plug into the conversation, where other companies are, where you can find jobs, and make an attractive looking page like many other sites have for Node.js. It could be a good starting point for the initiative.
Yeah, and I think that is one very valuable thing, is that this is Markdown, or like this structure is Markdown, and the website is currently rendered from Markdown. So it wouldn't necessarily be a huge leap to pull that in. Dan, you have your hand up?
Yeah, so I wanted to take a second to just address Diego's just sort of driving concern here. The social proof around companies in your area that are making big investments on Node. Over the last 8 years, I've seen this play out in region across region throughout the world. First in the Bay Area, and then spreading out from there through other parts of the U.S. And I most recently was at a very big, highly regulated insurance company in Europe, and there. They're just getting to the point where there's enough critical mass of Node that folks are starting to get comfortable. So it will happen. You can accelerate that by inviting folks from other areas of the world where they've already really invested deeply in Node. Above and beyond this technical approach of getting greater context and insight into what's happening. The foundation makes a number of case studies available about the companies that have made big investments in Node. So I highly recommend going and checking out that context. I think this is a great initiative. It's very ambitious, and already the fact that we can hang off foundation problems, projects like a certified end user, certified partner program off of this is a good signal that multiple people are interested. But if you want to sort of step back and think about how to build more proof, there are ways beyond just doing the data collection and engaging with the foundation, engaging with folks like myself and others who have been around for a long time and who've worked with a lot of companies to bring that context to bear.
And actually, I would like to touch on the suggestion around localization kind of in this list. This is something we've done in the evangelism repo with specifically around meetups. It was an issue we started at not the last Node Interactive, but the one prior to that. And basically, we just had a structure to submit different Node.js initiatives, so whether that be a meetup, a conference, something like that. We didn't have the kind of champion that we needed for that, so it didn't continue. But we actually got the groundwork in that would work for this. It could very easily be kind of carbon copied over. So having that kind of structure of, hey, we're in South America, hey, we're in Asia. Having that structure in this initiative could very well benefit it, and just have a basic kind of framework for that. So yeah, I just want to make sure we're not duplicating work and making more work for ourselves as much as possible.
Yes.
Awesome. Anyone else have anything they'd like to add to this?
Just before we move on, the next steps I've captured are figure out what the MVP looks like, which I think Diego will take the ownership of. Find additional contributors and find a champion in the community committee and then add to the initiative list. Tierney, should I add those as to-dos for you?
Yes. I hope I have time. I guess with the holiday, I probably will. So yes.
Yeah, not necessarily immediately, right? But that's
Yeah.
when time permits. Those are two things I think that are we want to make sure that like we as a group keep an eye on to make sure they happen.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. And honestly, like this, yeah, we should have continued this discussion in the repo, and kind of add the context we've had in this meeting, and then from there we can, try to dig in and get going.
Yeah.
Because I think this is a very strong initiative with a lot of backing and a lot of interest.
Great.
Cool. So I believe we've exhausted our agenda items. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add?
We kind of skip by discussion of the strategic initiatives beyond technical matters. Did you want to come back to that, or?
Yeah, actually, that would be a good thing to do. So, does anyone else have anything they'd like to add to that discussion? Around us driving, documenting and helping drive our strategic initiatives a bit more. Anyone else have anything they'd like to kind of engage with on that, or just discuss or share? I do see that there's actually in this issue, there's the LinkedIn discussion, again, created by Diego, where there's currently a Node.js LinkedIn group that has a pretty large membership base. I believe it's 20,000 just from the last time I looked, like 6 months ago. And it's currently owned by a membership or a member of the foundation. And so we were talking about in the issue. Here, let me actually share that issue. There you go. See a second link in the Zoom chat. Community Committee issue 185, discussing about a possible solution where we can get a Node.js group, and if the member that owns that currently would be willing to assist us with that. Assist the foundation and the community committee with that. Dan, you identified actually who the owner was. Would you be able to kind of reach out and take that on as opening that discussion?
I don't have a great relationship with that owner. So while I identified that, if there's someone else that has a better relationship, I think we're better served. I don't know if Zibby and or Sarah are still with us. Looks like no. But I'm willing to make that foray there. But let's see if we can't poke someone that's a little bit closer to that to warm that up first.
Yeah, I'm thinking it would be great if we could get Zibby to make that overture, coming directly from the foundation and on the marketing side. I think that would be my first choice anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was talking with her today, and she expressed a pretty explicit interest in this, and us kind of being able to enable this. So I think that's a good approach. So, yep. So, doesn't seem like anyone had anything additional they'd like to share on the initiative. Am I right on that?
I guess it's just for my minutes. Is it like we're in agreement we should do it, or?
Yes, that's what it seems to be. So actually, does anyone have objections to doing that, to creating that strategic initiative doc, and then kind of moving forward with that process? Or questions?
Good.
No? Okay. Good. With that, I believe we've finally hit all of our agenda items. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add or share? There is something I would like to discuss with the observers in the private session, but other than that, does anyone else have anything they'd like to share?
If not, we might want to see if there's any Q&A.
Oh, yes. Copy streaming link. Go. I see here. Hi, should I know HTML and CSS before starting Node.js? That might be helpful. There is, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. We have a GitHub repo called Node.js/help, or at Node.js/help, that may be able to help you get started and answer any questions around that. Let me hop in here so I can actually paste the link. There you go. There we go. So there's a link that if you have any questions that's around actually learning Node.js and kind of skills you need, that's probably a good place to start. Awesome. Well, it doesn't look like we have any other questions. Vladimir from Screen mentioned about the jobs platform that would be extremely fun to use. So. Awesome. And with that, I'm going to close in the live stream. If you have time, members and observers, stick around for the private session. Otherwise, we'll be wrapping off. See you next time. Bye.
Yeah.